Yo, what's going on everybody? Shri Kanase here. So how to warm up your Google Ads account fast. Now, if you guys have been following me for a while, you know that I repeat one single thing, and that is you need to have a warmed up Google Ads account in order to get the best results possible for your Shopify store. But I haven't really made it clear as to how this is even possible, what you can do to get your Google Ad account warmed up to the satisfactory level, because in reality, you need to know that if your Google Ads account is not properly warmed up, you will not be achieving the results that you want. And it doesn't matter whether you want to sell one item a day or 10 or 100. A warmed up Google Ads account will make all of this possible and more. So it's really important for you to know how to exactly warm up your ad account, because there is both a right way to warm up your ad account and a wrong way to warm up your ad account. But this is one video you're going to want to watch until the end. But without wasting any more time, let's just understand how you can warm up your Google Ads account for the best results. So before talking about how to even do it in the first place, I think it's really important to know why this is even important. Why do we need to focus on warming up our account so much, and why do I keep repeating this? Well, there are a few things why this is so important. The first thing you need to understand is that data for your Google Ads account is basically food for the pixel and algorithm. It's just like when you eat food, you're trying to put your energy level up where it originally was and feel much better, because the food lets you make better decisions within your day. It lets you do your daily activities. It's the exact same for your Google Ads account. The algorithm, also known as the pixel of your Google Ads account, actually needs a lot of data to work properly. And it's not really like Facebook ads where you can target the specific audience and then within 2 to 3 days, depending on your budget, you'll know whether the product is a winning product or not. You'll have enough data to determine that. With Google Ads, there is no type of targeting. You can't choose the interest or use lookalike audiences. So what this means is it's all on Google to understand what your products are, who the audience is, and what kind of audience will buy your product. So because of this, it's a much more complicated process for Google. But the only thing you need to really understand is that the data that you get and the main warm-up period that Google goes through in the beginning is basically feeding food to the pixel and algorithm, so it begins to understand what kind of keywords to show up for, what your products are, etc. And again, all of these things will in the end lead to the results that you get. So it is really important to know how to do this correctly. But one thing you want to understand regarding the pixel and algorithm and everything is that the performance improves over time. Again, comparing it to Facebook ads, it's not like in the first day, depending on your budget, you would get sales, and if you don't get sales, you may want to shut off the ads. As with Google, it may take 1 week up to 5 weeks of just running the campaign to even get any kind of good data that you can make decisions off of. Now, you may kind of get scared just by hearing that you may have to run the campaign for 1 to 5 weeks, but don't worry, you'll not be spending your entire budget within this time period, if any at all. But with the methods I'm going to show you, this 1 to 5 week period will definitely come closer towards the 1 week period. Maybe it'll take 1 week or even less than a week to warm up your ad account correctly so that you can focus then on making profits. Because in the beginning, when you're in the warming up period, you will be spending a lot of money unnecessarily, and it will be, of course, within your budget, most of the time lower than your budget by 50% or so. But the keywords and the products are something that Google and the algorithm test in the beginning to see what is working well. Because again, you're a brand new account, Google doesn't have much data about your store or the items that you sell. So it's important to give this time period for Google. But again, we want to make this process faster so we can get that profit faster. But ultimately, this is really important simply because an account that's not warmed up properly and filled with the wrong type of data, meaning a lot of spend on the wrong keywords or the wrong products, is going to lead to even more unnecessary spend and an overall unprofitable store. So knowing how to warm up your account correctly will save you a lot of money in the long run, and also will get you more profitable much earlier. But now that we've discussed as to how this really affects your Google Ads account and why this is so important, let's understand a few strategies as to how to warm up your account faster. So strategy number 1, which is something I always used to recommend, was the accelerated delivery method. This is simply where you would be able to choose accelerated delivery instead of standard delivery. And what accelerated delivery did is after 12 a.m. of your time zone, it would try its best to spend as much of your budget as possible as quickly as possible. And you may think that this is the wrong way to go since it's just spending money too fast, but if you had the intention of warming up your Google Ads account, this would have been the best way to go, simply because Google was kind of forced to spend a large portion of your budget much faster, and leaving this on for just 3 to 5 days was enough to get your account fully warmed up so that you can change this back to standard delivery and get the profits. But unfortunately, it is no longer available, so we have to use some different methods. But the number one method which I use all the time is related to bidding itself. So what I normally do and what I always recommend is that you start your bid high and then lower after about $50 to maybe $100 max spend. Now this is something contrary to what a lot of other YouTubers who do Google ads mention. They mention that it is always best to start with a low bid, but I don't think that, especially if you want to warm up your ad account fast so that you can actually become profitable. Because a low bid will usually lead to about 2 weeks to maybe 5 weeks of optimization period. And we want the optimization period to end earlier, so we want profit. So what I recommend is maybe a bid of 75 cents to $1.50 depending on your budget for the first week. And again, you may be thinking that these are just high numbers, but trust me, you're not going to be spending all of your budget, if any at all, in the beginning, even with these kinds of bids. Maybe by the third or fourth day, you'll start to see some significant spend. So at that point, once you do start seeing that significant spend, you have the option of lowering the bid or keeping it run until the end of the week if you have a higher budget, just so the warming up period is fully completed. This is an investment that could definitely benefit you, especially in the first week, because it lays the foundation of a solid Google Ads account. Because if your Google Ads account and algorithm determines the right keywords for the right products in this week, you are bound to get much more profit than the average person who starts at a low bid and then waits for the data to come in. So definitely start at a high bid, especially above 75 cents, which is the minimum, and $1.50 if you have a large budget over $500 to $1,000. But don't worry, again, you're not going to be spending that much amount of money. Maybe you'll spend $100 within the first week. But another method that I often use as well is related to the budget itself. So another thing you can do is actually set the budget higher instead of the bid. Now this doesn't work all of the time simply because the bid determines which keywords you rank for. So bidding high actually sets up the foundation for the right keywords, but budget can also work very well because that tells Google that you're a high spender, so it will try its best to start spending as much of it as soon as possible, because in the end you want to realize that Google is a business itself. It wants to take as much money from you as possible, but of course they want to get you results as well. So even if you set the budget at over $100 in the beginning week, which is what I recommend, you want to understand that only partial budget will be spent during this time period. So setting the budget high is another option to basically accelerate the warm-up period for your ad account. Another really cool thing that you can do is maybe do both of these together. So set a high bid and a high budget, because this will really accelerate things up for you. And maybe in the second or third day, you should start spending a significant amount of that budget. Once you spend a significant amount, that is when you know that your Google Ads account is kind of ready to be run like normal, because this warming up period will be finished much faster for you. So doing both of these things together, especially if you have a good budget, is really a good way to go. But there's one more method which you can definitely do, and another one I'll be going over at the very end. But this third method is that you should uncheck Google Search Partners and Display Network. Now, I normally used to recommend that you keep both of these checked simply because these were additional streams of impressions for your Google Ads account and your product, which means these two networks made it easy for you to show your products elsewhere. But nowadays, I'm starting to recommend against this, especially if you want to warm up your account much faster. And that's simply because when you choose Google Search Partners and the Display Network, what happens is Google kind of distributes its budget, whatever budget you have set up, to both of these platforms. So that means maybe for the Google Shopping ads, you may be spending only 50% of the budget, and then for the Google Search Partners, meaning other websites, you may be spending the 25%, and then Display Network another 25%. But what you may notice is that the Google Shopping ads platform is the best platform for your store, meaning those ads that get shown up at the very top of Google, and Google Search Partners and Display Network, even though they're spending money, aren't getting you sales. So that is kind of wasted budget on these two. So if you want to really accelerate your warming up period, I highly recommend that you uncheck both of these boxes so that your campaign can only focus on one network and then put all of its energy, time, effort, and database onto that network. So whatever keywords that you get from that specific network, you can then later on check both of these boxes once your account is fully warmed up. But to save the budget, I highly recommend that you uncheck both of these and then concentrate only on one, meaning just uncheck both of them and then run the campaign like normal. I have a whole video on how to set up a Google Shopping campaign. If you're unsure as to how to set it up, the link should have popped up in the top right. Do check that video out after this one. But this brings me to my final point on how to really accelerate the warm-up period for your Google Ads account, and that is start off with less than 25 products, especially if you're running shopping ads. And one more thing, these methods also work for search campaigns as well, only the last one may not work. But for search campaigns, you may want to start the budget high and start the bid high as well, and then lower maybe on the second or third day. But this is specifically especially for shopping ads, where you may want to start off with less than or equal to about 25 products in the specific shopping campaign, especially if you run a general store, because with the general store, you're going to have products all over the board. So what happens is your algorithm may get sort of confused dealing with all of these products, and it may kind of extend the warm-up period. Since we want to warm up the account as quickly as possible, we want to start off with less than or equal to 25 products, so Google can distribute the entire budget, whatever you have set up, towards these 25 products, only no more than these. And usually what I've noticed is that 25 is a sufficient amount to really start getting enough traction, because anything lower than 25 and you don't have enough products, and you may not be able to find a winning product. But anything above 25 products in the beginning at least, and you have too many products for the Google shopping campaign to spread the budget equally, and this leads to a lot of confusion with the algorithm. But once the account is fully warmed up, that's when you want to continuously start adding products every single day, because Google Ads is a numbers game. The more products you have, the higher the chances of you finding those winning products, and the higher the chance of you making money with the platform. Again, because you have less than or equal to 25 products, there's a lower amount of distribution of the budget, and these 25 products can thoroughly be tested within the first week before you start adding more. But these were the 4 specific techniques which I recommend in order to really warm up your Google Ads account. And it doesn't matter whether you're just starting a brand new Google Ads account or if you already have one Google Ad account which isn't getting you the data that you want. Just follow these techniques, let the campaign run, and then after a week or so, you can follow my other videos to really set the campaign up like normal and really start getting those profits coming in. But if you found any type of value in this video, smash that like button and smash that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys next time.